just want to pray to satisfy their conscience. They are not contending for an answer. He made a promise to him. Rain is coming. I'm going to send rain. But Elijah knows that that thing is pregnancy. To bet that thing, I have to push it out in waiting, in prayer. So he went to the place of prayer and started insisting on the promise. In other words, if you don't know how to stay on a prayer point, are you getting why this is very important? That you must be praying the same thing again and again, especially if it's a promise, because you are insisting on the promise of God coming to pass. So in verse 1, you have the word. In verse 44, you have the manifestation. And the Bible says he prayed 7 times. The Bible records 7 times, not because 7 is the number of perfection. The Bible is trying to tell you Elijah will not stop praying until he gets the results. And that is why if you have heard from God, and you know you have, let me give you an example of a time I heard from God. I think I shared this story in the how-to series. This seems the way. Okay. They kicked us out of a space that we were using. And for like 6 weeks, we did not have church. So I'll go to chapel in Unilag to go and pray. If you don't have money, you have prayer. So we don't have any money. We're able to raise about 600,000 then. So we're looking for a space, and at that time it looked like averagely we needed $1 million. So eventually we're praying, looking for space. And as I started to pray, I started fasting, praying. A particular day, the Lord told me, I've provided. Immediately he gave me that word. Now he has given me a word. I have premise. One of my friends called me and said she was praying and she just felt like she felt this restlessness towards the fact that we were not having church. So she said she would drop her car and she would go and borrow money for us. So she put down her SUV car and went to borrow 1 million. But I did not hear the terms and conditions clearly. The terms and condition is that every month it's going to be increasing by. So people are wicked. How can you borrow somebody on 1 million and every month the money is increasing by 100,000? So in 1 year you have made, just the excitement of somebody drop car, we have collected money. So as we are finished signing and everything, said, by the way, by next month it will be 1.1 million. I said, yeah, they've sent the money. I want to say, Jesus is Lord. But I remember that the Lord said, I have provided. So we have 600,000. We have gotten a space, which is the place they showed. It was actually a 4-bedroom apartment. So we now had to break the walls of the rooms and turn it to a church. So to break the walls, to buy AC, you see that Wagga Zoe it was beautiful to us. Our church that we use faith. And I'm dealing with students. Some people were sending 900. No. Blood and tears have entered this ministry. I can still, if I think about it too much, I can start crying. I can remember sending money back to people because they dropped their school fees for ministry. And to God be the glory, all of them are still in our church. Aramide she's now a deacon in the church. She sold her sewing machine. There are people that were selling their clothes. You will see some alerts, church people sending 990 naira. I used to ask questions a lot then. I said, why did you send 999? I said, Pastor, the 10 naira is for the transfer. That was my last card. Those 6 weeks, that is what has immunized me. I can't be a fake pastor. Because you can't see the sincerity of people's hearts towards what God has called you and want to cheat them. So I went to the pastor of the Lagos church. I told him, I said, this 600,000, I explained everything. We're in 1.1 million naira debt as we speak. But by next month, it will be 1.2. So he said, So the 600,000, I said, so this is what we're going to do. We have to start church. Let's break the walls, spend the money. By the time we did all the budget, the 600,000 has gone. So he called me aside, just the way Peter called Jesus aside. He said, and I had to tell him in a way, get thee behind me, Satan. He said, PD, come. I understand it. You want to walk by faith. I understand it. This is an opportunity, but let's be using sense. So let's not spend the 600,000. Let's keep it. Let's see how we can quickly pay off the debts. We spent that money to 0 naira. We bought the ACs we needed to buy, did everything, bought the chairs, did everything. Everybody was happy. The next month was coming. I came to minister somewhere in the US. Someone saw me ministering and, just took likeness to what I had done. Person reached out to me and sent me $3,157. $3,157. When we converted it, it was 1.1 million. We didn't have to owe 2 months. Don't think I'm a faith person. The word I have provided supplied the gift of faith. When he said, I have provided, that was the answer. When she sent the $3,157, that was the manifestation. Are you getting it? So I stay in the place of prayer to steady my heart, so I can keep putting that picture, keep putting that promise in view. If not, I will forget. It won't happen. God told Abraham, come outside. See how God works. He did 2 things to that man. He said, number 1, I want to give you a child, but I can't walk with this name. You have to put Abraham. You have to be father of nations. If you are not calling yourself the promise, it won't happen. So every time you called Abraham, he was a barren man. But you were calling him daddy. What was God doing? Working on his mind. What God was trying to do is, I've given an answer. But for my answer to manifest, you have to see something. The second thing God did was he worked on his vision. He said, come outside. Look at the stars. Count them. He started counting. He saw that he couldn't count. He said, if you can't number the stars, so shall your seed be. The guy has not finished. He said, come outside. Look at the sand. And it's a desert. So every time he comes out from his tent, in the morning, what is he seeing? Sand. In the evening, what is he seeing? Star. So morning and night, God was preaching to him. In the morning, he will see sand, children. In the evening, he will see star, children. Morning, children. All those was to provide premise for manifestation. If you don't insist, and I'm saying this because a lot of Christians don't know how to pray. There is nobody in the Bible that was pushing 3 prayer points at the same time. What that means is that people just want to pray to satisfy their conscience. They are not contending for an answer. Actually, a lot of people, they pray to God with the intention that he might not answer. They pray, their heart is not there. That's why when he answers, they are surprised. God did it. Really, God really blew my mind. Oh. And we celebrate those kind of testimonies, but underneath, what you are hearing is unbelief. Because faith is never surprised.